Everyone, this is Professor Robert Solis. Welcome to this video lesson. We're going to be talking about the switch statement. The switch statement is an alternative to the if statement. It's a selection structure statement. So let's go ahead and click New Project. And of course, Visual C#, Windows Forms Application. Sounds good. We're going to type in C#. And this will be switch. This is going to be part 1, so I'll put 01. Specifically, we're going to deal with the song called The 12 Days of Christmas. And the idea is to have the user enter a lyric number, and then we will display the lyrics of the song from the 12 Days of Christmas. So let me go ahead and open up the Properties panel, the the Toolbox panel. I'm going to drag and drop a button, or I can actually click Label, and also a text box. That label, I'm going to change that font size to 12 points. So I'll type in 12 here. Move this to the upper left-hand corner. I'm going to change the text property to Day of Christmas. And then over here in the text box, let me go ahead and change that to 12 points as well. Put that over here. The user is going to type in an integer. And if they type in the 1, then it just returns the lyric, a partridge in a pear tree. If they type in the number 5, it'll say 5 golden rings, 4, I don't know, whatever, 3 this, 2 this, 1 this, so forth and so on. It'll display a list of all the lyrics from the user input. So for the button, we'll say 12. Excuse me. And then I'm going to move the button over here to this location, resize it. That's going to be my submit button. So I'll double click over here, type in submit. Maybe make this just a little bit less, a little bit smaller, not so tall. And then I'm going to have a label. So I'll take this label, copy and paste it, place it over here. Now I have to have enough room for the possibility that the user will enter the number 12 here. So I'm going to make this a little bit taller and probably have to make an adjustment, obviously. I'll take this label and I'm going to make it so that the auto size property is false. The border style is fixed single. Let me go ahead and move this over here and move this down here. And again, I really don't know how tall this is going to need to be, but we'll just do this right here and see what happens. Let me go ahead and take this form, reduce the size. I'm going to get rid of the maximize box and the minimize box. Instead of form 1, say 12 days of Christmas. 12 days of Christmas. Looks good. Okay, oh, I forgot. I got to get rid of this text. So let me go ahead and double click over here on text, delete that. So now it's empty. Let me save all. Let's go ahead and type in the various names. So over here for the text box, I'm going to go to the name property, TXT Day of Christmas. This will be BTN submit. And then finally, that will be LBL result. Save my work. And let me just double check. TXT Day of Christmas, BTN submit, LBL result. Looks good. I'm going to minimize the toolbox, minimize the properties panel, double click on the button. And now we are in the code area. So let's go ahead and type in our comments, declarations, get user input, calculation, and then finally output. All right. Ask yourself the question, what is it that the user must give to you, and what are you going to give back to the user? Well, in this case, we're going to get from the user a number, specifically a lyric number, and then we're going to output the actual lyrics. So over here, I'll say int for an integer, lyric number, string, and then we'll create an output string which I'll initialize to nothing at first. Get user input. Let's go ahead and assign to the lyric number variable. We're going to convert dot to int 32, so 32-bit integer. TXT, and that's all I have to type. I can hit tab because it's going to select Day of Christmas. And then specifically, it's the text property that I want. What are we doing? We're getting the text from this text box. We are going to convert that to a whole number and place that into the variable called lyric number, which of course is an integer. Well, once I have that, then I can use the switch statement to ask the question which number was entered. So put an open and close curly bracket right there. And the way that I can determine that is through various cases. So I can say case 12. If the case is that the user entered 12, don't forget the colon over here, enter, well, then this output variable is going to be initially 12 drummers drumming. We are going to concatenate that with an environment dot new line. What this does is it sends to the output variable the string 12 drummers drumming, and it's going to go to the beginning of the next line. That's what this does. So the cursor is blinking into the next line, getting ready for the next output statement. Well, what is that next output statement? Well, it's going to be the old output statement. We're going to concatenate that with 11 pipers piping. Again, I'm going to use the environment.newLine to go to the beginning of the new line, of the next line, I should say. So what we have here is 12 drummers drumming, 11 pipers piping in the next line. That's what we're doing, and we're just going to continue to concatenate all the way through until we reach this break statement. So I think what I'll do is I'll take this output statement over here, copy and paste it. So let me select it like this, Control C for Victor, Control V. I'm sorry, I said Control C for Victor. Control C for copy. Control V is in Victor for paste. And I'm going to take care of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And let me go ahead and change these. So instead of 11 pipers piping, we're going to have 10 lords a-leaping. Over here, this is going to be 9 ladies dancing. We're going to have 8 maids milking, 7 swans swimming, 6 geese laying, and of course everyone knows this one, 5 golden rings. Almost done. 4 calling hens. Calling birds, I'm sorry. Not calling hens. And then over here, this is going to be 3 French hens. That's what I was thinking about. All right, 3 French hens, that's it. And then 2 turtle doves. And then finally, our last lyric, and a partridge in a pear tree. All right. So what's happening here is we are establishing what the output is. First with this string. We're going to go to the beginning of the next line. What is this output? This output currently has 12 drummers drumming. We are going to concatenate 11 pipers piping, and then we're going to go to the beginning of the next line. So this is the old value of the output. This is the new value of the output. Then the next line, the old value of the output has 12 drummers drumming, 11 pipers piping. We are now going to concatenate 10 lords a-leaping, go to the beginning of the next line, and so forth and so on. We keep on doing that when the user enters the number 12. So you could think about this as kind of like a modified if statement. If the lyric number is 12, then do all this. We are adding a bunch of these lyrics. And then, of course, you must have a break statement for every case that you place code underneath. I'm going to show you a future lesson where you can have a bunch of different cases that don't have code into it, then you don't need a break. I think that's going to be the next video lesson. But for here, think of this. Anytime you have code underneath a case statement, you've got a break. All right, what if the case is that the user entered 11? Well, if that's the case, then what we're going to do is take all this code, but starting from this guy over here, I'm not going to include the 12. I'm going to copy, Control C. I'm going to paste, Control V as in Victor, and I'm going to modify this first line by getting rid of that output. and putting just this. All right, so what happens is the output variable is going to be assigned 11 pipers piping, and then 10 lords a leaping, so forth and so on, all the way down until we get to our break statement. Again, what if the user typed in 10? So you know what I think I'll do? I'll just copy this, including the case. I'm going to paste, Control V as in Victor, type in the number 10, and really everything needs to go away from here, and no output statement, like that. Let me get rid of this space over here. So for the case where the user enters the number 10, this is what the output lyrics are going to look like. 10 lords a leaping, 9 ladies dancing, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what if the user enters 9? So let me type in a 9. All I did was just copy and paste. Let me get rid of all this stuff. And then get rid of the output statement and start off with 9 ladies dancing. And I'm going to copy this, paste. What if the user enters the number 8? So we'll get rid of all this, get rid of this. 8 maids a milking. If the case is that the user enters the number 7, then of course we're going to get rid of all this. And you can see how this is working out. We're just using the text that we've already typed to help us, so that we don't have to retype all the rest of the code for the remaining lyrics. If the number is 6, that would be 6 geese a-laying. And then we have, of course, 5. So I'll just copy and paste, change this to 5. And that's going to be 5 golden rings. But, of course, we have to start off with the initial text. That's why I get rid of that output statement, because we're going to start off with this, and then we're going to continue to modify the output. The user could enter the number 4. Almost there. So let's get rid of this text and get rid of this, because the user could enter 4. The case may be where the user enters 3. And if so, that means that we're going to have 3 French hens. And let me put a tab here so that everything is nice and neat. Almost done. 2 means that the user is going to see 2 turtle doves. And then finally, I'm just going to type this one out. It could be that the user enters the number 1, where we see just case 1. The output statement is going to be not and a partridge in a pear tree, just simply a partridge in a pear tree. And that's it. Break statement. Finally, if the user entered something that we don't know about, such as the number 24 or -3, then the output is simply going to display invalid input. And then, of course, we still have to break. And that's how the switch statement works. The switch statement allows you to consider various cases. What if the user entered an integer 12 or 11, so forth and so on? And then you can handle all these cases. If you enter code underneath a case statement, you must break. So you run this, it executes all this. The break statement jumps all the way out of the switch statement, and that's what this curly braces is. And because that curly braces is all the way at the end, I have no idea what that represents. So I think I'll take this guy over here, copy, go all the way down over here, and that curly bracket belongs to this switch statement. So I'll put a comment over here. And I like to use that technique because then I know, hey, what does this thing belong to? Oh, that's right, that belongs to, see how this was selected? The switch statement. So as I scroll page after page after page of code, I know what this belongs to. Finally, for the result, lbl result.text. For the label, we're going to take the output variable and place that into the text property. Let me save my work, and let's see what happens. So I'm going to start the code, start the program, and let's go to the worst case scenario, 12. Okay, so 12 drummers drumming, 11 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and a partridge in a pear tree. Looks like the text had to wrap around to the next line. Not a big deal. I have a little bit of extra space. I can close that. How about 5? Okay, 5 golden rings, blah, blah, blah. How about the number 1? Like a partridge in a pear tree. How about -5? Invalid input. How about 13? So let me type in 13. Invalid input. All right. So what this does is it displays the appropriate lyric based on the case. If the user does not enter a case of 1 through 12, then that invalid input occurs. Think about this as a selection structure, like the if statement, just tailored a little bit differently. All right, and that's it. So this is Professor Robert Solis. I hope this video lesson was helpful. Have a good day. See you next time.